Strength is not defined by gender. Leadership is not limited by tradition. And service to country knows no boundaries. This Women's Month, we celebrate women who lead with courage, who break barriers in institutions once dominated by men, and who prove that excellence, integrity, and patriotism are qualities that transcend gender. Tonight, we sit down with a woman in uniform who has helped shape national security, not only on the ground, but in the digital battlefield. I'm Angelique Lazo, and this is In Person. To share her journey of service, leadership, and breaking barriers in the armed forces, let us all welcome in person Colonel Francel Margareth Padilla, spokesperson of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Good evening, Colonel Francel, and welcome to our program.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening to you, and it's really very good for you to come visit and be with us in person here in the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Yes, thank you for having us here in your office. Before we talk about your awards and all these other accomplishments, we want to get to know you first. Sino nga ba si Francel Margareth, no? Bilang isang anak, magulang, estudyante, bilang isang Pilipino.
Well, ma'am, simple tone lang naman din ako, ma'am. No? I am a product of two OFW parents. Mm-hmm. So, my parents both went to Libya as OFW when I was young. Mm-hmm. So, pinadala ako sa province and doon ako lumaki, no, with my grandparents and yun sa auntie ko po. So, doon, ma'am, provincial life. It was very simple, but I learned a lot from there kasi St. Paul ako, ma'am, in Apari, Cagayan, so the northernmost part of the Philippines. Mm-hmm. Basically, ma'am, kapitbahay na namin ng Taiwan. Naririnig na daw namin
sa radyo.
Ang radyo nila doon. Yung radyo namin, ma'am, TV namin, nakaka-pick up na siya ng
stations nila.
Taiwanese stations.
I see.
Opo. And way back, ma'am, yung pier namin, there would be boats from Taiwan and they would be selling their goods. So may mga gulay na din doon, ma'am, sa mga boats nila ng mga Taiwanese. Mm-hmm. So very po noon ang situation doon sa aming lugar. So basically with what we are facing now, no, as a country, medyo nakaka-relate tayo kasi nga from my roots way back in my younger days. So,
okay. Ano mga karanasan mo sa iyong kabataan na humubog sa iyo sa iyong disiplina ngayon at sa iyong pagmamahal sa ating bayan?
Yung discipline, ma'am, nakuha ko siya sa I was studying in a Catholic university. Mm-hmm. So, ma'am, Catholic school. Mm-hmm. So, from sa St. Paul, ma'am, mga madre kasi talaga yung sa amin dyan, ma'am, may hands-on.
So, may pagka-stricto ba?
Opo, sobrang stricto. Sila sister nun. So, in St. Paul, ma'am, the color is basically white, black, and gray lang. Yes. So, wala kaming any other color to wear in the uniform. So, parang na rin kaming kadete nung pa lang kami, elementary, high school. But yun, ma'am, we've learned about discipline, tapos yung ma'am, yung personal relations and the skill sets in terms of alam mo naman, pagka Catholic University, choir, they hone us also to do a lot of reading in church. Mm-hmm. Kasi yung school namin, magkatabi lang yung church. Mm-hmm. So, early on, nagbabasa ka na sa harap ng maraming tao, no? Yung mga readings sa church, mga ganyan, choir, so na-hone na din po yung mga namin doon, no? Talents namin sa school. So, basically, ma'am, growing up, yun yung pinaka naging foundation ng kung ano man po ang nakikita niyo pong Colonel Padilla ngayon.
Ayan. Okay. What made you decide to enter the Philippine Military Academy? And I understand, nung time na yun, talagang nagsisimula pa lamang ang mga kababaihan, mga around 3 years pa lamang. Well, the time that you entered, graduate na ba yung first batch?
Hindi pa, ma'am, no? Inabutan pa namin yung pinaka-first batch. So, there are good neighbors, ang tawag namin sa kanila. Yung mga firsties po namin. So, yung first batch ng PMA na females was class 97. So, kami po was the first batch to complete the 4 batches in PMA. So 97, 98, 99, kami po yung 2000. So ang pinaka nag-influence po sa akin, it was actually by chance, ma'am. No? Nag-take lang ako ng exam. I was in UST then as a...
You were already a student in UST?
Yes, ma'am. No, I was taking up civil engineering.
Okay.
And meron akong classmate na gusto niyang mag-take ng exam. So way back, ang brother ko din, ma'am, was originally din dapat batch ng 97. So, yun ma'am, sabi niya, sige, mag-take ka lang ng exam. Noon kasing time na yun, ma'am, madyadyaryo ka pag pumasa ka. So, ipapublish nila sa dyaryo yung pangalan. So, parang sabi nila, padyaryo ka lang kung titingnan natin kung kaya mo talagang mag-qualify. So, yun lang ma'am, sumama lang ako, nag-take kami ng exams, ganyan. So, the rest is history po.
Ayun. And it must have been hard, because, well, syempre, kilalang institution, male institution ng Philippine Military Academy. And in the first few years, parang medyo, siguro may mga nagtatanong, are women really fit, di ba, for this kind of work in the future?
Yes, ma'am, no. Doon talaga parang ang sabi nga nila, guinea pigs pa yon yung mga time na yon. Kasi even the academy, navigate pa nila how to handle talaga yung presence ng females. So through the years po, from batch 97 nga na start, parang tinitingnan pa nila yung equality na sinasabi na kailangan kung anong ginagawa ng lalaki, gagawin mo din. No? So hanggang sa nag-transition na lang siya na nagkakaroon na po ng mga slight mga difference on how they treated females inside the academy. So pinattern na din po natin from other academies from abroad, na iba po yung physical fitness test ng females as opposed to the males, mga ganyan. So through the years po, nag-evolve naman siya, and now I think po napakalaki na rin po ng tinahak ng AFP, so to speak, sa pag-handle po ng mga females in the organization.
I'm sure may mga balakid din, mga challenges. Doon pa lamang sa academy, yung mga upperclassmen ninyo, how are they treating the lower classes like you?
Well, napakalaki ma'am din kasi even as the academy was trying to to adjust, ganun din po yung cadet corps kasi hindi po talaga sanay yung mga kadete na may babae sa kanilang hanay. And iilan-ilan lang po noon, that was like 10% per every batch ang pumapasok. So in our case, when we entered, 400 po kami lahat. 20 po yung female. And 4 years after, when we graduated, 10 na lang po kami
yung natira.
No? So, ganun po yung attrition rate ng So, makita mo niya po talaga from that alone shows that it's really very challenging to really reach to the end of the yung dulo po, yung peak ng pagkakadete pa lang. It's another new battle, pagkatapos po at joining the ranks as officers na po.
Okay. I can just imagine, may times siguro na parang ayaw ka na. May ganun ba?
Napakarami, ma'am.
Cross your mind?
Napakarami. So, hindi na po siguro namin mabilang ang luha na ginugol namin to that, no? But, yung noon lang po, ma'am, which yung pinaka-challenging is when you enter as a bleed, no?
Yes.
Yung talagang transition from, sabi nga nila, from blue jeans to academy gray. So, talaga pong tatanggalin nila yung civilian antics. So, they will remove the civilian antics from you and ita-transition ka na, ito ka na. And,
yung square meal.
To be a leader. So, lahat na yun, ma'am. Tawag nga nila sa mess namin, ma'am, is mess hell. No? Yung mess hall namin is mess hell kasi talagang it's a dreaded place for you. Because everything is measured. That's why they call it a regimented life.
Yes,
because everything is measured, everything is dictated. So, there's a uniform for any activity, for any duty, no? So lahat, tas bilang na bilang ang oras namin and all, but just to be able to survive that, yun naman po talaga din yung pinangahawakan namin ng tibay ng loob din po pagdating sa serbisyo.
Ayan, okay. Sa pag-angat ninyo sa inyong karera, at naging tagapagsalita ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, ano ang nakikita mong pinakamahalagang aral na dala ninyo mula sa inyong mga unang taon sa serbisyo, sa pagpasok ninyo sa role na ito?
Well, basically, ma'am, yun po kasing yung rank, yung pinaka role mo is a given. So parang dinesignate ka dyan, you are given orders to perform a certain duty, but yung credibility for you to handle a certain post, it is earned. And it is not earned ng agad-agaran, no? It's earned every day. So, ang pinaka, measure po dyan is our, yung pinaka service reputation po namin. No? So, ibig sabihin, all throughout your career, all throughout how you handled any duty and responsibility that was given to you, kung ano po yung iniwan mo, no, na legacy dun sa unit mo at dun sa mga tao. So, eto po yan, ang maganda lang din dyan, I think, we would have done something good because all throughout my career po, I've been in close ties with the troops that I have been with since my tiniente days pa po. So, makita mo na kahit na ang layo na ng pinagsamahan namin, nagkahiwa-hiwalay na kami. Opo, they really keep in keep in touch and then in very close coordination. Na somewhat lang parang pamilya na rin po kasi even yung mga families nila, pag kinasal po sila, talagang kahit na hindi na kayo magkasama, iimbitahin ka pa rin. Kahit na may anak na po and all. So I think yun po yung magandang maiwan natin, no, na hindi po tayo nalilimutan nitong mga nakakasama natin sa serbisyo. Hindi lang po yung trabaho na nagawa natin, but yung pakikisama po natin sa kanila.
It's the relationships that you also build, through the years with your former units. Okay, sa putong ito ng inyong career, paano nyo ilalarawan ng inyong misyon at ang layunin ninyo bilang bahagi ng Armed Forces of the Philippines?
Well, at this point in time, ma'am, medyo iba kasi itong role na ginagampanan ko ngayon. No? So, it's doubly challenging for me. I started my career as a signal officer. No? Nung tiniente po ako, I served in the Army as a signal officer. And signal officer po, ma'am, we started CEIS, no? Communications, Electronics, Information Systems. So, dun po umiikot yung specialization namin, no? In tech. So as the years have gone by, we have evolved to become C4S, no? Command, Control, Communications, and Cyber. So ito po yung role na ginampanan ko hanggang maging battalion commander ako, ma'am. No? So battalion commander po ako sa 7th Signal Battalion sa Fort Magsaysay, which is the largest military reservation of the AFP. So
and how many people are under a battalion again?
I have 150 people under my watch. And distinct kasi, ma'am, yung battalion ko kasi kami po ay meron pa kaming company that is detailed in Mindanao during that time. So meron pa akong tropa na nandoon sa Mindanao na officer-led din po. No? But my headquarters is in Fort Magsaysay. And yung Fort Magsaysay nga, bilang the largest military reservation, usually, ma'am, one battalion services one division. So pag 1st Infantry Division, 1st Signal Battalion, ganyan. But in my case, ma'am, being the 7th Signal Battalion, ang sineserbisyuhan ko po, not just the 7th Infantry Division, but the whole of all the units in Magsaysay. So, other than the division na kumpara sa ibang same battalion as me, with the same strength, nagsineserbisyuhan din po namin lahat ng nandoon sa Fort Magsaysay, which is, there's even an AFP unit there, ma'am, no? So, nandun po yung JSOG, nandun po yung Artillery Regiment, nandun po yung Aviation Regiment, and even outside Fort Magsaysay, which is Northern Luzon. So, even Northern Luzon Command, yung battalion ko rin po ang nagsaservice. Napakalawak po. Opo, napakalaki ng scope, given the sheer amount of troops and the resources that we have. But, ang maganda naman pong mai-highlight doon that I have finished my battalion commander race na wala naman po kaming kumbaga bad reviews so to speak. So everybody was really given the ample services that they deserve po from our unit.
Ayan, okay. Naku, marami pa tayong pag-uusapan, Colonel Francel. And we will also talk about yung ginampanan mo sa ilalim ng digital work, yung pagtatrabaho mo sa cyber space, cyber crime, cyber, everything that has to do with the digital life, and how modern warfare is now included among the training and the practices of the AFP. Kasi mahalaga na meron din tayong presence dyan, di ba? Okay, alamin po natin yan sa pagpapatuloy ng In Person.
for our next food crawl.
Perfect. Okay sa akin na lang. Charing.
Tara na sa Another Chibugan. Kasama ang certified foodie na si Leslie Ordinario.
I feel na kahit for sharing yan, kaya mo ubusin.
Parang nahalata ako.
Nakalata.
It's fun. Ngayong linggo, alas 10:30 na umaga.
Ay. Ang tapang niya. Wow.
Ay, tama.
Dito lang sa PTV.
Nagbabalik ang in-person at kasama natin ngayong gabi si Colonel Francel Margareth Padilla ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Okay. Ngayon, kinikilala rin kayo sa inyong ambag sa cybersecurity ng AFP. Paano nagsimula ang inyong interes sa larangang ito?
Well, as a signal officer, ma'am, yan talaga yung inikutan kong specialization. So I started as a programmer. Sa dati pa po, ma'am, tinatawag lang AMIC, yung Army Management Information Center. So from there, I transitioned po to physical security. Nag-serve po ako under the Presidential Security Group. I served under 3 presidents po, kay President GMA, kay President Pinoy po, and a little kay President Duterte. So, dun kay GMA, mama, I used to be the uniformed aide din nun. And then, during the the Pinoy time po, nag-transition ako to cybersecurity because I was detailed at the Presidential Communications and Computer Battalion. So, dun po, syempre, nakita namin yung modern challenges na cyber is now a domain na kailangan din nating tutukan because the data and the information should also be secured. So, yun po. So, we underwent training on cybersecurity and binago namin yung setup ng Presidential Communications Battalion to have a server farm and the capability po for cybersecurity. And so yun na po, doon na siya nag-start na patuloy na po itong cybersecurity journey ko. And I wanted to use my gift of gab, being able to, iba kasi ma'am yung mai-convey mo yung technical terms to laymanize it, yung madali siyang intindihin. So, yun po, nagkaroon ako ng advocacy to do a lot of cyber hygiene trainings. Kasi po talagang pagka ikaw na scam or nagkaroon ng breach or whatever, napakahirap pong mag-recover. So, mas madali pong magturo para protektahan yung sarili mo, maging mapanuri yung mga tao.
Para hindi ka ma-expose.
Yes, prevention nga po is better than cure. So we are doing a lot of cyber hygiene trainings, paano nila poprotektahan yung sarili, paano nila maging mapanuri po.
This is among the AFP personnel or sa labas?
Sa lahat na po, ma'am. So we get invites everywhere po. There will be units from the AFP who invite us to speak about it. There will also be outside entities who invites us to share the same knowledge.
Okay. Sa inyong pananaw, gaano kalaki ang papel ng cybersecurity sa kabuang pambansang seguridad ng ating bansa? Because alam natin, like there are departments, whole departments in the government that get penetrated, yung kanilang servers na hijack pati information, although naaagapan naman, So, how does the AFP also address this?
Well, ma'am, ang makikita talaga nating pinakamalaking importance nito is that yung mismong unit ng AFP, nag-evolve siya to cater to cyber. So, dati po, kinetic po yung hinaharap natin na domains of operations. land, air, and sea. So we have the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy.
Very
and
physical.
Now po, yes po, now we have created the Cyber Command to address yung cybersecurity issues. Kasi ma'am, pinakamalaki pong hamon, hindi lang po sa Pilipinas, no, sa buong mundo, itong proliferation po ng fake news.
Yes.
Ang hinaharap ba natin dito, yung misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Itong tatlong ito, no, itong mga fake news. So, ang hirap po niyan na paano mo siya i-manage because the Filipinos in general is very distinct that we have a very great online presence.
Yes.
Opo.
And we're very gullible ba? Because sometimes naniniwala tayo agad sa fakes because of AI, no? Ang artificial intelligence is ang galing-galing nila mag-duplicate or mag-replicate ng
Yes, ma'am. So, ang dami
speech,
na.
etc.
Opo. May deepfakes na nga pong lumabas, no?
Yes,
Kaya
yes. So,
may video na rin, hindi lang text ang,
Yes,
kinakaharap natin ngayon ng mga hamon. So, yun po, we created the Cyber Command to address this. And ngayon po, we also have the CMO Command. Yun po ako ngayon naglilingkod ngayon para po ma-address nga natin ito because ang tinitingnan natin dito, yung information domain, ma'am, napakalaki na rin po ng hamon natin dito. How do we express the right narrative, no? Paano malalaman ng taong bayan yung katotohanan, no? Sa nakikita nila na napakarami nga pong lumalabas na iba't ibang fake news na nandiyan dyan. So, over and above that, ma'am, we have now transitioned to the cognitive domain. So, yung the battle of the minds. Kasi yung information will shape your perception on things.
Right.
So, yun po, napakalaking hamon yan. And now, being the spokesperson, I'm actually at the forefront of this, no? Paano natin mapapanatag ang ating mga kababayan na ang AFP po ay nandito po talaga para gampanan ang aming misyon, para protektahan po ang mamamayang Pilipino, ang ating soberenya, hindi lang po nga sa land, air, and sea, but even in the cyber domain.
Yes, ang mahalaga na nagsisync yung nandun sa cyber, dun sa actual na mga sinasabi ninyo at ng AFP, hindi ba? Dapat nagja-jive lahat yon na
Yes,
walang mga
ma'am.
distortions or mga naliligaw na information.
Yes, ma'am. Kaya nga po, ang sinasabi natin dito, our greatest weapon is the truth. Kasi you'll never go wrong if you put the truth out there.
Kasi otherwise, you need to remember your old lie to add on to the lie, di ba? Kailangan may track ka dun sa track record.
Yes, ma'am. But ito din po yung kailangan natin i-address because a lie that is repeated
often enough.
Yes, often enough, eventually becomes the truth. So yun po talaga yung inaagapan natin. That's why, kung makita niyo po, we are one with the government in the Transparency Initiative. So pinapakita po natin kung ano talaga ang katotohanan. So even po, no?
Yes.
Na parang straight out, nandiyan sila, nakikita po nila kung ano talaga ang nangyayari. And ito po ang naipapahayag po natin sa ating mga kababayan. At hindi lang po yan, no? Sa buong mundo.
Okay, bilang isang leader, paano ninyo pinagsasabay ang technical na aspeto ng cybersecurity, ganyan din ang human aspect ng pamumuno po ninyo, Because cybersecurity is parang it's a little, it looks detached kasi there's no actual person there. Pero at the same time, kailangan meron ka ring human aspect sa inyong trabaho.
Yes, ma'am, no? Kailangan po talaga natin maiparating sa ating mga kababayan na ito pong implications ng cyber, meron po talaga siyang effect sa totoong buhay. Kasi kung titignan niyo po, kapag meron pong na-scam, for example, OFW po, siya po ang biktima na na-scam, hindi naman pong pera yon na nasa cyber Yung pera po, cyber is the tool that was used para ma-scam sila, but yung pera po na yon, pinaghirapan nila sa totoong buhay. Lumayo sila sa pamilya nila, pinaghirapan nila yun, nagpuyat sila, nagtrabaho sila, yun po para kitain yung perang yon. And yun po yung makukuha because of a scamming incident. So, actually po, talagang they go hand in hand na ang repercussions ng mga nangyayaring yan meron pong physically. So yan po talaga yung gusto natin na mapigilan, no, na matulungan natin ang ating mga kababayan na maging mapanuri sila, hindi lang po sa cyber domain, but of course sa physical na ano na rin po, no. So makikita nila ano ba yung mga red flags, not to click on certain links, yung mga ganyan. Yan po yung mga itinuturo natin for all our cyber hygiene trainings. And ngayon po, dahil nga po meron tayong networks like say mga consul or ambassadors from other countries, minsan po meron tayong mga programs for our kababayans, no, na nagkaroon tayo ng digital Zoom trainings for them para matuto sila na maging mapanuri nga po sa cyber domain. Kasi yung cyber, ma'am, minsan the term itself looks very technical. But pagka po nag-usap na tayo about it, as long as you have a phone, you're connected to the internet, you're part of cyber na rin po.
And also, yung mga scams na yan, I think many of us are also victims of that in maybe different degrees, ano? Ako madalas sa mga kung ano mga nabili kong hindi naman dumarating.
Yes,
tapos
ma'am.
nabablock ka na, yung mga ganyan, di ba? Oo.
So sabi nga nila, ma'am, cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. So pag lahat po tayo marunong, no, at mapanuri, then collectively po, no, pinoprotektahan natin ang cyber domain na rin ng ating bansa.
Sa hinaharap na mga panahon, paano ninyo nakikita ang papel nyo, ano, sa pagpapalakas pa ng digital resilience ng ating bansa?
Well, yung resilience kasi, ma'am, no, kailangan mag-a-adjust tayo up to the times. So ngayon nga, yan ang hamon natin, yung fake news. So kailangan po, pagtulungan natin ito to be able to tell our kababayans kung ano ang katotohanan at kung paano din nila nga poprotektahan ang sarili nila. So ang maganda po nating i-highlight dito, because of the great online presence of Filipinos, pwede po natin pagtulong-tulungan yan eh. Basta po alam natin kung ano ang truth, then all of us will re-echo the same truth. No? It's actually a uniting factor for Filipinos, no?
Yes.
To put the truth out there. So ito po sa geopolitical tensions that we're facing, we have a communications plan po ng AFP. It's called Mulat. Mulat po is awakening.
Yes.
No? So gusto po natin mamulat ang ating kababayan at ang buong mundo dito po sa ating pinaglalaban, lalo na po dito sa West Philippine Sea issue. So three-pronged ito, ma'am, no? KKK siya, ang ating karagatan, ang ating karapatan, at ang ating kinabukasan. So it's our seas, our rights, and our future. So ito yung guide natin, ma'am, no? So tinasabi natin, ano ba talaga tong historical claims natin dito sa karagatang ito. So yan po, ma'am, yung natin, kumbaga storytelling na ito, ma'am, no? Para tayong mga lola na nagbibigay ng kwento sa mga apo, no? Opo. So yan po, no, we're now telling the whole narrative of the historical claims in the West Philippine Sea.
And how young should we start this?
As long as nakakaintindi na, ma'am, ng kwento, pwede na yan eh. Kasi ma'am, sa DepEd, even the Coast Guard, ma'am, comics po yung ginamit nila for younger generation. So meron pong iba't ibang forum for that. And now with DepEd po and partner na rin po natin sila, magiging part na siya ng curriculum, ma'am, no, ng ating mga estudyante. Yung our rights, ma'am, ang hina-highlight po natin dito by arbitral ruling that ruled in the favor not just of the Philippines but all countries, no, na yung 200 nautical mile zone, which we dub as the West Philippine Sea, atin yan by international law. So ito po yung karapatan natin dyan, and this right is our might. Ito po yung pinaglalaban natin, no? And ito pong last K, yung ating kinabukasan, our future, syempre, ma'am, hindi naman po itong usapin ito mag-e-end sa atin. No, sasaluhin pa rin po ito ng ating saling lahi. So, ang gusto po natin malaman dyan, malaman ng ating mga kabataan na kailangan po, pag sila na during their time, patuloy po nilang ipaglaban itong karapatan natin ito.
Kasi nakarugtong ito ng kanilang kabuhayan, di ba? Ang kinabukasan natin nandoon sa kabuhayan na galing dito sa mga itong hindi na inaangkin ating talagang teritoryo.
Yes, ma'am. Opo. Kasi kung titingnan niyo po, no, yung ating mga mangingisda, talaga pong hirap sila dyan.
Yes.
And the Philippines is a defensive country. Hindi po tayo nananakop.
Hindi tayo agresibo.
We are simply defending what is rightfully ours.
Yes,
Opo. So ang gusto lang naman po nating mangyari dyan is patuloy pong makapangisda ng maayos ang ating mga mangingisda and go on with their livelihood. So yan po yung gusto nating malaman ng bawat mamamayang Pilipino. And our voice now as the spokesperson, yan po, nawa po naibabahagi natin yan sa ating mga kababayan. Okay.
Yan, okay. At sa ating pagbabalik, pag-uusapan natin ang katatagan at ang paninindigan ng isang babae at ang mga kapwa-kababaihan sa isang male-dominated institution tulad po ng AFP sa pagbabalik ng In Person.
Mula sa mayayamang kwento,
Mga bukbata na ko.
kultura, tradisyon, hanggang sa mga exciting adventure. Halina't sumama sa biyahe
We can do this.
at mabighani sa angking ganda ng Mindanao. With our travel buddies, Lexi Moto and Israel Damaulao. Pit Stop Pinas. Sabado, alas 10 na umaga. Dito lang sa PTV.
Nagbabalik po ang In Person at kasama pa rin po natin ngayong gabi si Colonel Francel Margareth Padilla ng AFP. Okay, at ito nga po, bilang isang babae sa isang institusyon that's predominantly male-dominated, ano po yung masasabi ninyong personal challenges and also professional challenges sa inyong, na inyong hinarap?
Well, basically, ma'am, ang pinaka-challenge lang naman dyan pag hindi sila sanay na may female voice dun sa any duty that we will be performing. But for me, I don't actually take it as a challenge, ma'am. Parang feeling ko nga more of a superpower siya. Kasi di ba, ma'am, ang babae, pag nagsalita tayo, mas matinis yung boses natin. So you tend to get the attention from the room. So as long as you talk sense, di ba, and you have something to offer to the table, pakikinggan ka nila eh. So yung mga panukala mo, ma'am.
Maton ng mga officers,
yes, ma'am,
mga generals.
Gamitin lang yung charm mo, ma'am, di ba? Parang you get to have the listening ear. And in that sense, you're able to to push forward your agenda. So ang nakita ko dyan, ma'am, is to come up with a particular advocacy. Kasi pag advocacy driven po siya, mas malaki po yung chance na you get really support out of this. So when I was a battalion commander, ma'am, we came up with a Cyber for Peace initiative. Kasi I used to work as the head executive assistant of Secretary Galvez in OPAPRU.
OPAPRU.
Opo. So nakita ko yung peace process. And then, of course, we were fighting this internal security operations, ma'am, di ba? Yung ating insurgency problem. So nakita ko yung how the peace process was taking place. And then, I am into tech. So parang how do I marry both development practice and the technological side of things? So that's why the Cyber for Peace initiative came up. That there is cyber, can be used as a tool for development work. So basically, it's tech for dev. Yun po siya. So, we were able to partner with universities in Nueva Ecija. So, yung mga OJT nila, ma'am, kukunin namin sa loob ng kampo. We teach them how to program, how to troubleshoot, how to repair, mga ganyan. So, nagkaroon po ng partnership with the civilian sector and we humanized the soldiers. So, yung mga ma'am, hindi lang pala gera lahat ang alam ng mga sundalo, Pwede rin kaming partner sa teknolohiya, sa development, mga ganyan. So, we also had the mayor of Palayan City be a partner of Cyber for Peace. So, we do cyber hygiene trainings. Nagturo po kami sa munisipyo nila. Ganon din po si Mayor Magalong, He also signed the Cyber for Peace initiative. So, nagbibigay po kami ng mga ganyan, cyber hygiene talks and So, nagkaroon ng ng fusion. We were able to find the nexus between development practice and tech. So, pwedeng magamit pala itong tech for good, no, for development. So yun, ngayon ma'am, patuloy pa rin siya with the role that I have now. Hindi ko naman po na talikuran itong tech side. Opo, kasi when the Chief of Staff introduced me as the first ever female spokesperson, ang sabi niya po is the cyber woman. So medyo ano pa rin po, no, ando doon pa rin yung cyber side of things. And I still do a lot of talks about cyber and cybersecurity, and now AI po, no, and nami-marry na po natin yan kasi yung ngayon cyber is now being used for the geopolitical tensions din.
Yes,
so,
that's right.
Ano po siya, nagkakaroon talaga ng connection.
Mahalaga ang presence natin dyan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, may mga pagkakataon ba na kinailangan ninyong patunayan ang inyong kakayahan kaysa sa iba, no? Na let's say another male versus ikaw, female. Ano ang kwento sa likod nito? Because yun nga, you're the first woman AFP spokesperson. And siguro when you first got that role, baka may mga eyebrows na tumaas. May mga kilay na tumaas.
Well, ma'am, very challenging talaga siya. Kasi in 88 years of the AFP's existence, first time na female voice yung tagapagsalita, the face and the voice of the AFP. So, for me, na as a signal officer, hindi rin po ako a public affairs officer. So, talagang nando doon, no, yung challenge na sana man lang, tumagal man lang ako dito sa role na to. Kasi, pag hindi, pati po yung pangarap ng mga susunod sa akin, maapektuhan siya. Kasi sasabihin, we tried but hindi pala effective. Diba? So talaga ma'am, grabe ang panalangin ko na sana man lang Lord, kahit na maka 1 year man lang ako sa role na to. But now I'm 2 years at the job. But I'm still saying that I'm still learning the ropes each day with the role. So, eto ma'am, syempre, hindi naman pala palagi na lahat mapiplease mo po with how you handle things, but it's really how you are able to perform to the utmost, knowing that it's merit-based. No? I do not want to think na kaya ka lang nilagay dyan dahil babae ka. Di ba po? So, it should be based on merits that you really deserve to be placed in that role, and that you can represent the organization in your capacity. And I'm really trying my very best and ano po to be able to live up to the expectations po.
Wala namang time na parang na-shake ka, no, from your role, yung leading the information drive of the AFP, di ba? Kasi you're the spokesperson.
Ma'am, napakarami. Marami pong instances kasi ma'am na magkamali ka. Kasi ma'am, ang AFP is national security.
Right.
So, it's a warlike scenario, so to speak, no? So anything you say can even lead the country
trigger
something into conflict, di ba po? So talagang very sensitive po, no? The choice of words, how you carry yourself, how you deliver,
but the tone of voice,
yes,
diba?
ma'am. And I was also designated at a very challenging time. You know naman, ma'am, at this time, this really very exciting times, no?
Yes.
When the
to put it mildly.
yes, ma'am, geopolitical tensions and the political issues, and of course, itong mga nangyayari dyan with the investigations and all, di ba po? So, yung learning curve ko talaga ma'am to the roof, that I always have to be abreast with the current situation on the ground. So
do you get briefing points on what you will brief the media with today, or ito talagang kailangan mong pag-aralan on your own, and reading up on all the different siguro announcements of the different units, maybe of the Chief of Staff and all the way down?
Yes, ma'am, it's a team effort, of course. So we have our support system. Nandyan po yung ating Public Affairs Office. Andyan po ang ating CMO Command, no, to give us certain points to highlight our message to the public, ganyan. But of course, yung news itself, kung anong nangyari. Yun talaga, ma'am, no? Kasi real time yan eh. Na, anong balita dito, anong nangyari. Kasi yung the reports, ma'am, no, nandyan din po yung ating operations to give us the reports from the field units, mga ganyan. So, yun lang, ma'am, how to absorb everything at the same time. Lalo pag sabay-sabay ang issues na maghalo-halo na, ma'am, no?
Mahalaga, alam mo, di ba? Mahirap
Opo.
naman biglang merong mag-i-interview sa'yo na media, tapos parang talagang, ano ba to? Parang,
Yes,
narinig ko na ba
opo.
to?
So I always make it a point, ma'am, na talagang I get a grasp of the situation. So hindi naman agad tatanggapin mo yung interview without actually having the details. So they can you can say naman na, ma'am, I'll get back to you. I'll just get the proper details on that, and then tsaka po tayo pwede nang magpa-interview after. So yun. So marami rin challenges na getting information, but kasama yan, ma'am. It's part of the job.
And as spokesperson, did you ever think of saying goodbye to this role? Hindi naman.
Meron din. Yes, ma'am, hindi mawawala. There are instances that it's really very overwhelming na ganon. Kasi to absorb everything and of course be able to still kakalmahin mo talaga, ma'am, ang taong bayan na of course, the AFP will continue to perform our mandate, come what may. Kahit ano pang challenge yan, ma'am, sabay-sabay. But kasi nga, sa amin, ma'am, specialized kami. So, pag HADR, we have units that are specialized and trained na sila po yung magre-responde for HADR operations. Meron pong sa internal security operations, meron po sa territorial defense, meron po sa lahat, no? Kanya-kanya. But as spokesperson kasi, ma'am, i-absorb mo lahat yun. Diba? So sabay-sabay po yan, pwedeng may bagyo. At the same time, habang nagre-responde tayo sa bagyo, meron pa rin usapan politika, may usapan pa rin.
Press release, ganyan,
Yes,
diba?
po, meron pa rin ganyan. And there are instances na may mga admin din, ma'am, mga kahit na retired na po, pero nasangkot, pero former AFP yan. So lagi pong tinatanong ang AFP as to our stand. But
It's also
naman
not
po
fair,
yan.
di ba? For the AFP to be dragged into these issues kapag merong isang, let's say, separated na siya from the service, pero meron siyang panibagong trabaho, nasangkot siya ngayon sa gulo, anomalya, or whatever, di ba? Nakadikit pa rin ng AFP sa kanyang identity.
Yes, ma'am. No, we respect naman our elders na nag-retire. Siyempre, they have rendered also their services and we thank them for their service. But pag retired na po kasi, ma'am, they are already acting on
their own.
Yes, on their personal capacity. Opo. So, whatever it is that they say and they do as a retired po, it's upon their personal capacity na po. But for us to be heard and of course, malaman din po yung side ng AFP, maganda din naman po na malinawan din po ang ating publiko sa side po ng AFP.
Okay. So, ano sa palagay ninyo ang pwede pa nating abangan sa mga susunod na panahon? Kasama na rin dyan siguro yung role pa rin ng women in uniform, yung nais mong iwanan ng legacy sa ating mga kababayan. Sa pagbabalik po yan ng In Person.
Disaster Watch. Mga paalala pagkatapos ng lindol. Suriin ang iyong sarili at mga kasama kung may tinamong pinsala. Magbigay ng paunang lunas kung kailangan. Unahin ang mga pangangailangan ng mga matatanda, buntis, may kapansanan at mga bata. Kung nasa tabing dagat at may banta ng tsunami, agad na lumikas papunta sa ligtas at mataas na lugar. Suriin kung may natapong nakalalasong kemikal at mga bagay na maaaring pagmula ng sunog. Patayin ang main switch ng tubig at kuryente, pati na rin ang tangke ng gas o LPG para sa maaring pinsala. Huwag bumalik sa loob ng gusali hanggat walang abiso na ligtas na ito. Sa panahon ng sakuna, dapat laging listo.
Nagbabalik po ang in-person para sa ating huling bahagi ng programa ngayong gabi at kasama pa rin po natin si Colonel Francel Margareth Padilla ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Okay, I just want to go back. I remember some time ago, you decided to drop your married name, di ba? And Padilla is actually your maiden name.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
your husband passed away.
Yes,
And he
ma'am.
was also with the Philippine Navy. Tama
Yes,
ba?
ma'am. Opo. My husband is my mista.
Ay,
Used to be
mista
my mista.
kayo.
Opo, ma'am.
Nice.
So, we're
Oo.
both PMA Shanghai Class 2000. And then, he joined the Navy po. He's a pilot, Naval Air Group. So, rescue pilot po siya. And then, he transferred po to the Coast Guard.
Okay, and then now your son has graduated from the PMA.
Graduating, ma'am.
Graduating
Opo.
this, what, when?
May po.
This May.
Tentative po.
And
Opo.
anong branch of service ang kanyang
Well,
performing?
he's slated to join the Air Force po, the Philippine
Wow.
Air Force. So, AFP na kami, ma'am, no?
Yes.
Air Force, Army, and Navy.
Oo nga,
Yes,
to follow
ma'am.
after the footsteps of his dad.
Yes, ma'am. So, sabi po niya, he wants to be a pilot like his dad.
Oo.
So, yun. Sabi ko sa kanya, magkadete ka na lang kasi hindi natin kaya magpaaral sa flying school.
Yes, oo.
Yes,
So what's it like, no, to have your own son follow your footsteps and the footsteps of your late husband?
Well, dalawa kasi sila, ma'am, eh. Yung panganay ko is data scientist. So, parang doon naman siya nagmana sa IT side.
Sa IT side
Opo.
mo.
Tapos ito pong bunso namin, dito po sa military side naman po siya. So, I know naman po kung nasan man po yung husband ko ngayon, he would be very proud to see his son na about to graduate po, no, in the academy. So, yan ang sinasabi ko, ma'am, na greatest treasure and trophy of being a female, to be able to raise itong really very responsible sons po.
Yes, that's wonderful. And of course, you also received the award, Talents Award, di ba? Sa mga outstanding women that has helped our country. So how do you feel about that?
Yes, ma'am, no, to be part of that sisterhood, so to speak, of outstanding women in nation service. Talagang very overwhelming po siya. Minsan, pinch me moment talaga yun, ma'am, eh, na parang, talagang...
Nagulat ka ba?
Paano nakasama? Kasi, ano siya, ma'am, triennial siya. So, every 3 years lang siya.
Yes.
And hanggang 50 years old lang siya. So, if hindi ako ma-selected at this point, wala na, no? Ma-overage na. So, parang it was at the right time, and may yung pong network namin ngayon ng mga na-select, we are in very close ties with one another. So nakakatulong po talaga siya, no, sa performance of our own mandates and how we support each other, and also of course with the guidance and help po ng mga former towns awardees din.
Yes, that's wonderful. Paano niyo tinitingnan ngayon ang papel ng kababaihan sa mas modernong Armed Forces of the Philippines, sa larangan ng teknolohiya, sa larangan din ng security?
Well, we're very grateful po, no, sa Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas for embracing diversity and inclusivity. So, makita niyo naman po na ang AFP has been giving women the opportunity to lead in different capacities. So, ito nga po, one example is putting a spokesperson for the first time na babae. And we also had the very first female battalion commander sa infantry, sa field, and also a first female company commander sa infantry din, sa field. So nandiyan na po ang mga kababaihan natin in different fields po ng ating Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas. In fact, ma'am, I boarded ito pong nakaraang multilateral maritime exercises, no, dito sa ating bagong frigate. And during the exercises po, nung nag-land yung Navy, yung helicopter ng Navy, yung ano po nila, yung team nila was also female. The pilot and the co-pilot and the crew was a female. So sabi ko, talagang ang lawak na rin ng narating ng mga kababaihan, even sa AFP. In fact, sa Fort Magsaysay, ma'am, may battery po, no? Yung battery is one team ng mga kanyonera na all female din po. So nakitan po natin na talaga pong ang AFP has already really evolved to a professional organization organization na hindi na po yung gender ang tinitignan, but yun na pong capability, capacity to be able to lead, to be able to perform at par na po with our male counterparts.
Because in the past talagang binibaby ang mga kababaihan sa AFP, hindi ba? Like talagang hindi pwede na nasa front line dun sa kung saan nandun yung gera. At least pwede as a support staff, but not right there, no?
Not,
sa front
not in the front lines. Now, nandiyan na po. And it's also po kasi, syempre, titignan po natin yung, kasi nagta-transition na tayo from internal security operations, no? Tinatapos na po natin talaga itong ating insurgency problem. Territorial defense na po tayo. So, dito po sa territorial defense, through different domains, marami na rin pong role ang pwedeng gampanan ng kababaihan. Lalo na dito po sa information domain, no? And of course, dito sa cyber domain din.
But hindi ko lang masyado ma-imagine, babae kanyonera, di ba? Because usually, women are very nurturing, you're compassionate, we're caring, we're loving, di ba? Tapos may hawak kang artillery guns para, di ba, to shoot down the enemy. It's parang medyo incongruent.
Nag-evolve na rin po ang kababaihan, no? Meron na po tayong warrior spirit. And mga babae din po ngayon, ma'am, kasi talagang tumutulong na rin po sila. They're earning their own wages na rin, no? Not totally dependent to the husband now, no? So, yung modern na babae na po is out to prove the world that they can also be they can also perform in different capacities.
When the need arises.
When the need arises. Opo. So, yan. At ang laki po ng contribution ng female ngayon. Even po sa barko, marami rin pong mga females na assigned sa ating Navy ships, no? And sabi ko nga, sa Air Force, ang dami na rin po tayong piloto. May fighter pilot na nga po tayong
May CO na ba na sa mga barko? Mga CO?
Si Ma'am Misham, class 97, so already CO na po siya ng
CO na rin siya. So talagang leadership roles na rin ang mga kababaihan. Hindi na sila yung taga-type, di ba? Or nandun lang sa gilid-gilid.
Hindi na lang po siya pang administrative, duties, but we're actually all over na po.
How would you you still have many years to go in your career, di ba? You marked 25 years after graduating from the PMA last year dahil class 2000 ka, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
So, you're moving on. Ano ba? Ang retirement age is it 55? 57?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how do you see yourself in the next few years? Ano yung gusto mong gawin pa at nais mo ring iwan sa AFP?
Well, yung advocacy ko, tuloy-tuloy lang din po yan, no? And for me, at this point in time, mentor na po tayo, no? So we want to already mentor the younger generations on how to move forward with their careers as well, no? Paano natin na-navigate itong mga challenges na dinaanan natin all throughout. So, hindi lang po kababaihan yan. Even po itong ating mga male and junior officers, they learn a lot from us in different ways. So I do a lot of personal development trainings. I also do financial management trainings. Parang ganun, ma'am. Kasi dati, ma'am, wala naman nagtuturo sa amin how to handle finances.
Right.
No? And ngayon, okay naman na po yung kinikita ng isang sundalo. So paano po nila yun ma-maximize to also be able to learn to invest and all those things. Mga yan, tinuturuan na rin po natin yung mga younger generations. Above po, dun sa how they really perform as all throughout their careers, no? So, yan, basic po dyan, leadership role pa rin. Paano natin i-handle yung ating mga troops that are under us. Kasi iba-iba po tayo ng leadership style, di ba, ma'am? But of course, how you accomplish the mission and balance the accomplishment of the mission and the welfare of your men. Yan po yung pinaka kailangan matutunan natin how to do so.
Mahalaga yan.
Yes,
and finally, anong mensahe mo sa mga kabataan natin, particularly younger women who are still thinking of their careers, yung gusto nilang gawin sa buhay, anong maaari mong imbitasyon siguro sa kanila kung nais nilang maglingkod din sa ating bayan?
Yes, no, sa ating mga kabataan, of course, ang inyong sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas po ay bukas ang aming pinto para po sa inyong serbisyo. No? So in different capacities, pwede po kayong tumulong, pwede po kayong mag-join sa amin as enlisted personnel. Andiyan dyan po, no? Sinabi nga natin kanina, napakarami pong fields of specializations that are open in the AFP. So if you're into tech, there's the Signal Corps. If you're into administrative, marami din po dyan. No? We have finance, we have logistics, we have CMO, nandiyan dyan po, even media personalities, meron po yung role dito sa Armed Forces of the Philippines other than the combat fields. So ngayon po, these are really exciting times and we need more of you to be part of us. So join us as enlisted personnel, as officers. No? We have the Officers Candidate School, we have PMA, marami po kayong pwedeng ways to join us in the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And pag hindi naman po, pag may trabaho na kayo, you have your own careers, you can also join us as reserve forces. No? So kung ano po yung niche nyo, ano yung careers nyo, pwede po kayong tumulong in different capacities. And sa buong kababayan po natin, ang bawat mamamayang Pilipino, iisa po ang puso natin. No? So with the geopolitical tensions that we're facing now, atin po ang West Philippine Sea. And ito po, ang panawagan po natin sa inyo, magkaisa po tayo at buo po tayo dito sa pinaglalaban po natin ang ating karagatan, ang ating karapatan at ang ating kinabukasan. Atin po itong alamin, ipaglaban at suportahan po. So with that said, maraming salamat ma'am for having me and my voice and of course the whole Armed Forces of the Philippines in your program. And of course, 10 po ng inyong team na nandito ngayon sa aming office. Welcome po sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. And I know we have a lot po to work and move forward with moving forward sa ating mga paparating pa pong araw ng
Consider us as your allies, no? Kaisa nyo kami sa pinaglalaban ng Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po and Happy Women's Month sa inyo, Colonel Francel, Margareth, Padilla, for sharing your journey, your leadership insights, and your message of courage and service. This Women's Month, we are reminded that leadership is not about gender. It is about character. That courage is not defined by tradition, but by conviction. And that service to country, whether on the battlefield or in cyberspace, is strengthened when women lead with integrity, intelligence, and heart. At yan ang tunay na mukha sa likod ng mga balita at mga isyong pinag-uusapan, matapang na humarap at nagpakilala. Ako po si Angelique Lazo at ito ang In Person. Thank you, Colonel.